Okay, already. This season, we're coaching someone through what so many of us go through.
I'm Alison.
I'm Michelle.
Meet Sophie. She stayed too long, she'll break up, she'll heal, she'll date, she'll spiral. She's you, she's us.
We'll walk with her and you through every phase, from heartbreak to wholeness.
If you're tired of the chaos and ready to thrive in singlehood and in love,
welcome to season 3. Oh,
so
close.
good.
There it is. Recording in progress.
We just did the thing of just like, okay, should we go? And then kind of looked at each other and just like, who's clicking the record button?
Exactly. But we're here, we're recording, and we're back with yet another set of questions from Sophie, who, just to recap, has broken up from her ex-boyfriend after a very long and difficult journey of trying to figure out she should make it work, not make it work. And she's freshly singled, and she's wanting to figure out her life again now that she is no longer with her boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just get straight into it. So the newly single, and so now she's kind of like trying to figure out reconnecting with loved ones. And I don't know if you saw that show with Kat Dennings, something with the cat. I don't know. So Kat Dennings, she's the girl from Two Broke Girls, and basically that's how the show starts, of her breaking up with a long-term boyfriend. And figuring out, okay, I need to go and see some friends again and kind of reconnecting with loved ones, because when you're in a relationship, even though you have a lot of goodwill of, wanting to maintain your friendships, you kind of, everything kind of takes a step back. So she's asking us, how do I reach out to people I've drifted away from while I was in a relationship? So first of all, I would just want to say there's nothing bad with that. It's, you want to maintain a balance. You don't want to drift too far. But, the way I see it, and you're going to tell me what you think about this, is that if you are going to go into a relationship thinking this is it for me, like, I want this relationship to work, then you need to put some effort in. And then, all the way at the end, as far away as it may be, this is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So you want to put in a lot of effort, and that sadly kind of takes away with everything else. And I think that, it's normal, and you want to, you don't want to completely stop everything else, but taking a step back from your friendships and kind of family relationships, as hard as it may be, you have to, because for you, for instance, you're a very, very, spend time with your family. But if you're going to get into a relationship with somebody who's also very spend time with your family, then automatically that means something has to give. You take a bit of time from your own family, from your friends, because you want to, create an equilibrium. And I think that's normal. It's tough. And so let's take away from the blame and shame of, spending less time with loved ones when you're building a relationship.
I think a lot of times the issue becomes when the relationship is all consuming, and you have, and this happens way more often than people would like to admit. I think that you spend so much time with just one person, and this is something that I discovered when I was freshly singled, and when I had a long period of being single for the first time in my life, because like from 16 to 26, I was always in relationships, and with maybe a few months in between. And even then, I had my go-to friend with benefits and whatever. And I think I suddenly discovered that, hey, with this time that I used to spend on just one person, I can now dedicate it to so many more people and so much more time. And especially when you're single and you don't have that relationship, that's a perfect time to build a foundation of creating strong relationships, whether it's with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, whoever it may be. So then when you do find a relationship, you don't lose yourself as much in them, and you already have that solid foundation to build on. You already have something good going, and you know that you always have time for them, and you sort of create that balance. So I think now with Sophie, who's asking, how do you actually reach out to people that you've drifted apart from while you're in a relationship? And I think there is that awkwardness of like, we haven't spoken a long time. I can't because of friend with or whoever or whatever. And I think no matter what, it's going to be a bit awkward. And I think no matter what, you're gonna feel a bit of like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Do they even want to? But I think if you want to have a relationship, then you have to take that risk of just reaching out and doing it. There's no way around it. It is what it is. It's gonna be there, and there's no magic fix for it. It's just doing it. And the worst case scenario, they're like, no, I'm sorry, you screwed up, and what can you do? It's life. You have to move on and find someone else.
Yeah, and to build on that, I think there's that kind of double thing of, if you have strong friendships with like people who are mature and everything, then they'll get it, and they'll, maybe they'll give you a bit of a hard time, but they'll get it. And I think you need to be more trusting with people. And I think instead of kind of coming out of the woodworks as if nothing, as if nothing happened, just send out a message saying, listen, I'm sorry, you know I took a step back. I mean, I need support. Just be open and honest. So that's the one aspect. And then the second aspect is, if these people are pushing back and saying, no, you screwed up, I don't want to be your friend anymore, and it wasn't that good of a friendship to begin with.
Exactly, yeah.
It's when you're 20 and kind of ditching your friends, or like 16 or whatever, then I get it. It's immature, but it is what it is. Like, people don't get it either. They're in weird relationships or haven't been in relationships or whatever. Then it is what it is. But when you're in your 30s, then it's to be expected. People get it. You've been in a relationship, you've been in a breakup. If people don't get it, then they're just not that good of people.
Yeah. And I think something about what you said made me think of, like, a lot of times when you begin a relationship, you could be a certain age. Like, let's say if you start a relationship in your 20s and then end it when you're in your 30s, or even when you're in your teens and then end it like in your 20s, you're not in the same place you were when you started that relationship. So even if you had friends before or during, when you break up, you suddenly realize that it's not where you are anymore. You don't want to reach out to, or the specific people that you don't necessarily connect with anymore, because you're not in the same place. There's like sort of like a situation where at the time these friendships worked for you, but now they don't, and you sort of have to figure out again if this is something that serves you and serves you both, or if it's something that you need to move forward. And I definitely agree with being open and honest. And I think when you do that, and when you don't act as if nothing happened, and when you don't try to put it on a show, or you don't try to minimize it, then people are more understanding and people are more forgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just being vulnerable and self-aware.
Yeah, exactly. Self-awareness.
And so the next question was, what if I feel awkward or guilty reconnecting with family friends now? I mean, get over it.
Well, like he says, just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. It's I mean, get over it. Let's give her some concrete, advice. But I think feeling
fine.
some sense of fine. Oh, if we must. But just if we feeling some sense of guilt or awkwardness, I'd be worried if there weren't any. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's normal. It's sign that you're a decent person of just kind of realizing what's happened and what's happening and everything. And so, if it's there, then it's okay. And honestly, if it's not there, I'm not going to say then that's okay as well. If you feel like you've taken a step back from your friends and family, and now you're kind of going back there because you've broken up and you don't feel any sorts of weirdness around that, it's like
Yeah.
you need to kind of check yourself of just people are not disposable. Yeah, you have more or less time for people, etc. But people are not disposable. Um, I mean, the people who kind of treat people as if they were disposable and that works for them, it baffles me. It happens, but it baffles me. And so, concrete advice, I think it kind of links into the first question of just be vulnerable. Just say openly. Actually, even say it. If it were you and me, I would say, I don't know how this would happen in our friendship, but let's say that it would. Just say, I'm feeling really awkward right now, Michelle. I took a step back and everything, and I'm feeling weird about it, but now we're broken up, and I'm feeling so lonely, and I need friendship. Um, I need somebody to be there for me, but I also want it to be there for you. Can we talk?
That's a fine line, though. I think thinking about it, it's a good idea. We need to do that. But I think you have to be very self-aware in this process, because just hearing you say that is like, I just broke up and I'm feeling lonely. Like I'm thinking of like the other person on the other end. It's like, so now you remember me, now you're suddenly lonely and you don't have a friend, a boyfriend. So now suddenly you want to and I get it. And I think that's something that we need to keep in mind when reaching out to people is to be aware that, you don't want it to sound like you're just reaching out because now you don't have a boyfriend, and to make them feel like the next time you have a boyfriend, that you'll ditch them again. I think that's something that needs to be talked about. And I think when you say it out loud, when you don't like try to cover it up, just get around it, whatever it is, then they appreciate it. And you say it, I know this sounds bad. I know this sounds like, I'm just reaching out because I broke up and whatever, but I genuinely want to reconnect with you. And I think this is a great opportunity to do that. And B, you want to be careful of not making it all about you, because there's that, it's very easy to go back into a friendship or to a family member, and then like, oh, I broke up and I need your support and I'm this and I'm that. You actually want to, like you said, you want to be there for them as well, and you want to show that you care and that you're not reaching out just because you need them now. And again, it's a fine line, and it can be very awkward. And I think it's good that Sophie's feeling awkward and a bit scared. It means she's aware. It means she's going to be very conscious about the whole process. And it means she knows that what she did isn't a great thing, because when you disconnect from someone just because you're in a relationship, it can create tension, and it can make the other person feel bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you did, that little kind of thing of making it about them as well, it kind of put me back in one of my own personal situations, like similar in a sense of when I'd just given birth, and I kind of, people were more or less there for me and everything. And there's this one person who really wasn't, who really wasn't. And I just, and who needed me to be there for her. And and she wasn't hearing me. So I just cut off contact for a bit. And then she came, and she tried coming back, and I ended up saying, listen, I went through, pregnancy and birth and everything and postpartum, and it's tough. And you were asking a lot of attention from me, and I couldn't give it, and you weren't giving any to me, and it was tough. So she genuinely apologized, and she said, I'll do better, and kind of had a bit of a hash out of like what we were both going through during this phase. And we we understood that each other, we were going through phases and things like that. And this was kind of late August. And I, was okay, let's just, okay, let bygones be bygones, and let's find some time for each other and things like that. And so today's the 11th of November as of recording. When this comes out, it'll be later, but this has gone 2.5 months and absolutely nothing has changed. Zero. And I'm just like, ah. So being on that, what I was meaning is being on the receiving end of like, I want to reconnect. And this is actually a perfect example, because now that I'm thinking about it, this was after one of her breakups. And so being on the receiving end of that, it's just like, yeah, I absolutely want to, give you benefit of the doubt. Like, but it's not even the benefit of the doubt. Like, let's just go both ways. But you need to understand that it's going both ways, because especially Sophie, similar age to my friend, she may be reaching out to postpartum mothers or people in their in the prime of their career and things like that, and they're also dealing with stuff. And
exactly,
this isn't when you're 16 and your life revolves around your friends. Like, other shit is going on, and so it's proceeding with caution of just like, you're going to reach out again, and people, if they're good friends and good people, they're going to be open to it, but they also have their own stuff to deal with. And if you're not happy for it to go both ways, then they're just going to give up, because because being Sophie's friend, I've got 2 kids, I've got my partner's ex to deal with, my partner, my job, we're looking for houses and things like that. It's a lot going on. So if you're going to just bring me extra drama, then I'm sorry, then, I can't be there for the drama. And it's the same for Sophie. So I think that's what we're telling Sophie and our listeners, of just absolutely go and reach out, but just be aware that as you were taking a step back from your friendships because you were building a relationship, all of these other people were still evolving and have got stuff going on.
Yeah, and I think it's completely fine and understandable for them to say, okay, I want to reconnect, but I'm going to need time, and it's going to take time, and it's not something that's going to happen, just because you've decided suddenly that you want to reconnect doesn't mean that at this moment in time they're available for it, for whatever reason. If they're giving birth, if they're just moving, or if they have something going on at work in their family, whatever it is, you have to understand that people aren't at your disposal for whatever you want, whenever you want. And I think Sophie's very aware of that. The fact that she's asking these questions is a testament to that. And I think you have to be aware that it's okay, and you should take it personally. You shouldn't get defensive if they're like, hold on, I need a moment, or if they're worried a bit, or if they want to protect their own emotions and feelings, and they take it a bit slow, like in a relationship where you're trying to like figure out if this person's going to disappear again, and you don't want to, they don't want to set up, because to be on the receiving end of someone who's just, was a part of your life and now they're not, and then now they want to come back again, it can be very frustrating. It can be very hurtful. It can be exhausting, because like, you want them to be in your life, and you want to be friends with them, but you don't know if you can trust them. And so
whilst you're building your train of thoughts, that kind of really starts answering to her last question, which is, how do I rebuild trust and closeness with loved ones after being emotionally unavailable? And that really ties into what you're saying.
We say in Hebrew that the answer, sorry, what were you saying?
No, go for it.
No, I was going to say that we say in Hebrew that the answer is in the question, where, she's asking, what was it? How do I rebuild trust and closeness with loved ones after being emotionally unavailable? By being emotionally available. That's in the question itself. You lost touch because you weren't available, whether it was emotional or physical, or just, you were too consumed by your relationship. So the answer now is to just be there for them, be available, show them that you're not going anywhere, show them that they can trust you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's, it's that thing of, who was it? I saw, I don't know what social media platform and whatnot, of just when you move in somewhere, don't go, um, what will they say? Something about a cup of sugar. And I'm not going to translate it, but it's basically, be there for them, and then they'll want to be there for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, exactly what you said, like by being emotionally available. And even for you, I think, getting after a breakup, getting out of your own head and figuring it out, being there for other people is going to help you kind of, let go of a bunch of things and feel
Yeah.
comfortable with it. Um, and yeah, and just kind of like, it's funny. This friend, I'm always mentioning this friend, like if you're thinking, this was back when her relationship was really dramatic. I was mentioning her a lot, and I think in the early episodes that they've broken up, like, and I swear, like, we're not basing this on my friend. It's just so happens that she was going through the same phases. But she's now in a new relationship. Like, it's been 2 months and she's in a new relationship, and I'm just kind of like, whatever. With a guy that I really don't approve of, so we're not going to go into that. But she's complaining not to have time for me, and she's saying it, she sent me a message, I want to see you, things like that. But she's kind of prioritizing him and kind of doing all of these things of going to the gym and things like that, which I think is great, going to the gym and things like that. But it's just like, then, well, don't come to me saying that you want to spend time with me, and just kind of like, I've given you options in the evenings, for lunch, at the weekends. Like, I've just given you, and all of them, it just wasn't possible. If you want to spend time with your friends, you can make time with your friends. Don't send them messages saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I want to spend more time with you. I just haven't got the time." Just, I would much rather her coming to me saying, "I've got time. Can we spend time together?" rather than this kind of wishy-washy, "I want to be there, but
Yeah.
I'm not" thing. Um, being unavailable at the same time being available at the same time is one thing, but kind of actively not making an effort is another thing. So yes, I completely, how to rebuild trust and closeness. Then just make the time for your friends. If you want to do that, make it
Yeah.
happen. If you want to lose weight, go on a diet. If you want to meet someone, get on the apps, go out and meet people. Don't stay home, change nothing, and expect everything to fall in your lap. It wants a bit of effort.
Yeah. You need commitment. So
Yeah.
if you want to reconnect, then you have to just commit to it and go all in and stand by your words. Another great saying in Hebrew is that you vote with your feet. And I truly believe in that. If someone really wants to, they find time and they show up. They
Yeah.
take their cute little feet and they come and they're there.
Yeah.
And they're not over promising, they're not under promising, they're not saying a bunch of beautiful words. They're just showing up. And they're
Yeah.
there when you need them, and not only when it's convenient for them. And I spoke about her a long time ago in the podcast about a very close friend who we've lost touch, and she just disappeared. And then a few months ago, she sort of resurfaced, and I was very cautious, and I was very, it was very hard for me to trust. But she was all in, and she was like, I'm gonna come over for the weekend, and we're gonna spend the whole weekend together, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna catch up and whatever. And until it happened, I couldn't believe that it was actually going to happen. I was like, she's for sure gonna find an excuse last minute. And she actually showed up, and that, helped me trust her again, and realize that, okay, maybe she is serious about this. And it is what it is. You have to put your ego aside. You have to understand that this is a time for you to prove yourself And not because, you know, they're demanding you to prove yourself, or not because, you know, they're being impossible, but because you really genuinely care and you genuinely want to be there for them. And, you know, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I think it's a good place to wrap up.
Yes. And I hope Sophie continues with a self-awareness journey of like, just, you know, being very conscious of how she approaches these people and how she moves forward.
And people who never make mistakes are people who never do anything.
Yes, I don't trust people who don't make mistakes.
Yeah. So, you know, just go for it, trial and error. The worst thing that happens is that people kind of just say no, and then we're going to have to learn about making new friends. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Is that, oh my God.
Yes. So let us know if you've ever had to reach out to loved ones after a breakup and how you did it and how you cope with it. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, wherever you're watching or listening. And until next time, bye.
That's it for this episode of Pop Culture Cupid.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We're glad you're here.
Make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit for more behind-the-scenes real talk.
And if you want to support the show, check us out on Patreon.
Until next time, be kind, be happy, be healthy, and remember, heartbreak isn't the end.
It's the plot twist.